junkies.
Alrighty, golf addicts, what's going on? It's the Farmers 2020. DB here. My man Pat Perry waiting in the wings. We have a jam-packed show tonight. A lot of good stuff to get to, not to mention the strongest field of the year so far with Tiger returning. Jordan Spieth is back this week, Pat. I'm sure we'll talk about him. This is going to be an electric episode. I'm feeling good about it. We're going to try to keep it crisp, keep it moving. But we got some really good stuff to talk about, including a couple of amazing contests, one involving the Players' Championship and one involving the Masters. You are not going to want to miss that. Thank you to everybody who's joining on YouTube, watching live on YouTube. We appreciate that. Pat, we normally hit this after, but you know the Amex, I want to move quickly. It is what it is. Andrew Landry came out and won. This continues to be an event where long shots can win. He was like 300-1 to win this thing. It's a birdie fest, like we talked about. We had some pretty good picks. The perfect DraftKings lineup would have been Landry, Answer, Bud Cauley, Scotty Scheffler, Sebastian Kaplan, and Sepp Straka. You would have scored 783 points, and you would have only spent $44,500 on DraftKings, leaving $5,500 on the table, which is insane. But a decent tournament to watch down the stretch. We had some good picks. Bud Cauley was a good one. Scheffler obviously paid off. Good to see our boy Sebastian Kaplan, who we've interviewed on the podcast before. If you hadn't listened to that, go check it out. He is a good dude. It was a good event. It is what it is, but I think we just move on. Do you have anything that you'd like to add about the Amex, and we will go ahead and be done with that?
No, I got nothing. It was a good tournament. Glad to get a Pro-Am event out of the way. We still got another one coming up here soon at Pebble Beach with 3 courses, 3 days, all that kind of stuff. But it's just kind of an annoying tournament to me. But look, some people like that format. So
yeah,
hey, Chalk Bomb Ben, he loves it. He's like one of his favorite events of the year.
And, speaking of that, I mean, we got to give Ben credit. The Chalk Bomb's been pretty good lately. You definitely haven't been mad at us for the Chalk Bomb if you faded him so far this year. It's paid off. So if you're not subscribing to the Chalk Bomb, not sure what you're doing, hit us up if you need to know how to do that. Before we get into this week's course breakdown, which we have two golf courses this week, we're going to talk through. We got to pay the bills, Pat. And, there's some people here, including yourself and sometimes me, living in chronic pain. You know what I mean? And it's the worst. Many of our listeners probably have some pain that's maybe prevented them from relaxing or sleeping or even stopped them from exercising, potentially, Pat. I know you had a recently painful experience on New Year's. I was going to see if you wanted to share briefly with us what happened.
Well, let me tell you something. People like me over 40 years old, we live in pain every single day of our life. So it just is what it is. But let me tell you something. New Year's Eve. So New Year's Eve is a fun night. Now, it is amateur night for most folks, I feel like. But in my neighborhood, it's a fantastic party. I'm not going to get into it. It's incredible. It's huge. It's huge. And we take our golf carts pretty much everywhere we go in the community. It's kind of nice. Hashtag gated life. And on the way home from said New Year's Eve event, I may have been tipsy. I don't know. I feel like it was a little bit of a faulty golf cart. Long story short, there was a faultiness that happened within the golf cart, not me, not the driver. I happened to hit a curb and I flew out onto the sidewalk. And luckily for me, so basically I was thrown out of the golf cart. Let's just get down to it. Luckily for me, I'm very skilled at being able to contort my body even in midair. And I happened to land on my shoulder, not my head, my shoulder first. And then I kind of rubbed across the pavement with the head a little bit, but nothing. I didn't have a concussion or anything like that. And so anyway, it was quite painful, especially in the shoulder area, the muscles and that kind of stuff.
The very few muscles. Yeah. Well, Pat did have this problem. Now, lucky for us, we'd already agreed to terms with our friends at Omax Health CryoFreeze, and we already had a sample that we could readily get into. And if you're looking to get rid of nagging muscles, joint pain immediately, provide some long-lasting recovery, then you need to try the natural pain relief solution CryoFreeze CBD roll-on developed by Omax Health. It's a non-prescription triple action pain relief roll-on specifically formulated to block the pain receptors, reduce inflammation, and improve your muscle and joint flexibility. It's all natural, and the CBD-powered remedy works its magic within about 10 minutes and lasts up to 8 hours, much longer than over-the-counter products. And Pat, I know you were like, hey, maybe I should use this CBD stuff on my shoulder.
Let me tell you something. There is a point after you fall out your golf cart and hit your shoulder very athletically that you have to, you wake up and the alcohol wears off. So you got to do something. Let me tell you, I was rolling on some CryoFreeze. I may have overused it. I'm not sure, but it was fantastic. It worked. My shoulder felt great. I even dove into the drops. The drops were there for. They sent us some samples. But let me tell you, that roll-on stuff is fantastic. Anyway.
Well, they're offering our listeners 20% off a full bottle of CryoFreeze CBD Pain Relief Roll-On plus free shipping. Everybody get your roll-on. That discount also applies towards any product on the site. You go to omaxhealth.com today. Enter promo code TOURJunkies. That is OMAX health.com. Enter code TOURJunkies. Get your 20% off your CryoFreeze and anything else site-wide. By the way, Kyle Stanley uses the CryoFreeze CBD, and they have 95% 5-star reviews on the page. Go check it out. At least give it a shot if you're into the CBD thing. If you're getting older like we are, you're going to need a little bit of help. So go to omaxhealth.com. Enter promo code TOURJunkies. Get that 20% off. And thankfully, our boy Pat is okay. He's safe and sound. You didn't miss a beat, buddy. So why don't you get right up into it, and let's talk about these golf courses, any key stats you're looking at, and let's get into Torrey Pines, because after Torrey Pines and after the picks, I cannot wait to share some unexpected advice that nobody knew they needed. And it is going to potentially alter the lives of our listeners. It is extremely important advice. Or insight about something that's happening in the world today that you're going to want to know about. And then we have 2 contests that we're going to talk about: the Players Championship and the Masters. Big stuff happening there. So I'm ready to get to that exciting stuff. But we did do our research. I'm feeling good about the picks. But let's hear about the golf course first.
All right, well, we're at the Farmers Insurance this week, and this is a fantastic field. That's the first thing you got to talk about when it comes to this course. This tournament. We got Tiger, we got Rory, John Rahm, defending champ Justin Rose. We even got Jason Day. For now, we have him for now. As long as he doesn't get the sniffles. So it's a great field. So I'm just looking forward to it. We got 2 courses this week. You got to start off at the Torrey Pines South course, though, playing as a par 72. Almost 7,700 yards. That's a lot. That's a lot of yards.
Big boy track. A lot
of yards. Poana greens on this course, so we get Poana for the first time.
That's like how many yards Raheem Mostert had last night.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Anyway, we have POA Anua greens.
Yeah, POA Anua. If anybody, that shout out 2015 or 16, Pat. So and those can be pretty tricky. I think you get definitely, if you want to look at a stat when it comes to Poana greens, you got to look maybe back 75, 100 rounds. Look at guys who putt well on those greens. This course was renovated last year though, ahead of the 2021. So next year's U.S. Open, where they're going to have it here at Torrey Pines, they did renovate it a little bit. They changed some tee boxes up, changed a little bit of the bunkering. Nothing huge, but it could make a little bit of a difference. Pretty deep rough out here. Our boy Ben Little played out here. When was it he was sending those pictures? Was that like 2 months ago?
That was less than that. It was like a month ago. Yeah.
Yeah, and the rough was like, it was up there.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see. We'll hear from some caddies this week and get a little more intel. But I do think the rough is going to be penal. Obviously, a very long course. Kikuya fairways.
Kikuya.
You got four par
Kikuya.
Can't even talk. 4 par 5s on this course. All play pretty tough. I do think driving distance is certainly something to look at. 10 of the last 14 winners here have all finished top 30 in driving distance for the season. So maybe something to look at. Switching over to the North Course, par 72, it's playing just over 7,200 yards, obviously much shorter. Bent grass greens. I think that's interesting. They just put that in maybe a year or two ago, so they got bent grass as opposed to POA over on that North Course. I don't know if I'm going to pay too much attention to that, but it's just a little oddity there to notice.
Ooh, you just reminded me of something I'm going to bring up later.
This is definitely the course they've got to be scoring on whichever day they get it. And I can say this right now, it looks like the weather throughout the tournament is going to be pretty benign. Like as far as the wind, nothing. So I don't think it matters which day you get either course. It's probably going to be about the same conditions. But you got to score when you get the North Course. These par 5s you got to take advantage of. You certainly, again, that's the course you're going to need to play well on leading up into the weekend. And they're obviously going to play the South Course twice, Saturday and Sunday, if they do make the cut. For me, for stats, I mentioned driving distance. That's something I'm looking at. Always looking at course history and form. I do think scrambling's key. Pretty small greens out here on Torrey Pines South, so very difficult to hit. I think scrambling always comes into play when you got difficult to hit greens. I think driving accuracy. Now, I know that bombers are going to do well here, but if the rough is up and, it's looking like, whatever the rough's going to look like, I do think there's a little bit of driving accuracy.
So what are we doing? Are we driving distance, driving accuracy? What are we doing here?
I think you're looking at both. You're looking at like total driving.
I don't want to look at both.
Here's fairways, can hit it long. You can be both, David. You can.
I can't. I cannot be both. No, I cannot be both.
Yeah, but there are people out there that are pro golfers that can hit it long and hit fairways. Okay. All right.
Okay.
So there you go. I'm not going to mention anything else. Past champions: Justin Rose last year, Jason Day in 2018 for the second time, John Rahm in 17. We had Sneds in 16, his second time as well, in horrible weather, by the way. But he kind of got out ahead of it when he won that. And then 2015 was Jason Day, his first victory. By the way, Tiger's in the field. I mentioned that. He's won here 7 times, and that is not including the U.S. Open in 2008. So it's just something to take note of. By the way, okay, let me go through just a few things. 156 players in this field, T65 and ties cut after round 2, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. There you go. Now you can talk, David.
Love it, Pat. I'm not going to really add much in terms of the golf course. I do think there's a couple things to note. When you look at these past champs, you have Tiger, who's won here 8 times, like you mentioned. Jason Day's won here a couple times. Phil's won here 3 times. Bubba's won here. Now, Snedeker's won twice. And you look at that group, and you're like, what's going on with what? Snedeker seems to be an outlier. If you look at the years where Snedeker played well, he definitely played well when the conditions were much tougher. If you look at the last couple years, we've had, like you mentioned, rather benign conditions that are coming, that look to be coming this week. No rain in the forecast, very little wind. So it's Torrey's still a difficult golf course, and it will be interesting to see if they set it up a little harder, which may be why the rough is up, in as a lead off to next year's U.S. Open, because I can't remember if you mentioned that, but Torrey's hosting next year's U.S. Open. So, it'll be interesting to see if they make it a little tougher, but it's going to play as easy as it can in terms of weather. I think weather's going to allow it to play as easy as it can. And I think for that reason, that's where, to me, I just want the bombers. I want the long hitters. I want the guys who are going to have shorter irons, because these greens are small on the South Course. They're very small. They're tough to hit. And I like that you mentioned the scrambling, because I do think that's something to take note of. Strokes gained around the green is something I also looked at, because no matter how long you are, no matter how it's going, these greens are small. And there has been very little rain, and there's not going to be rain this week, so they could be firm. You could see guys having a hard time holding these greens. I'm not sure how that's going to go. Plus, if you're hitting it out of the rough, you're catching flyers. You're going to have to scramble. No matter whoever plays the best is still going to have to scramble a good bit out here at Torrey. So I do think that's something to weigh. I am weighing, POA putting, because I think that's something to take note of. I mean, POA is a very special skill set to have. Almost anybody can putt well on bent grass for a round, and that's what they're going to get at the North Course. They're only going to get 1 round on the North Course. If the bent grass is pure, which it probably is, bent is you what you see is what you get. What you read, how the grain is going, how the grass is moving is what it is. So it's not rocket science, unlike POA where it's tough. So I'm not really weighing bent grass statistics. I think that's kind of a waste. I'm looking at POA. I'm looking at par 5 scoring. You got to take advantage of the par 5s here. I think that's important. So I just think that's something to take note, is just the difficulty and guys like Snedeker. It's like when Zach Johnson won the Masters. It was brutal conditions, weird. Windy, wet, nasty. That just tends to pop. So I think this year we're going to see a score similar to what we've seen the last 3 years. I mean, last year Justin Rose won this thing at 21 under. Jason Day before that at 10 under, and Jon Rahm at 13. I don't think we're going to get to 21 because I do think the course is going to play tougher. But I think the winning score could be 15. I think the winning score could be 13 to 15 under. So I think you're still going to have to go low. So I like the bomb. I think
especially with what they're going to be able to do, probably to the North Course on whatever day they get it. You're going to have somebody at 10, 11 under maybe going into the weekend. So then you get,
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right, let's get to it, man. You ready?
Yeah.
We're going to start 9K and above on DraftKings, 3 tournament plays, a cash lock, and a fade in this range. I'll start. I am going to go ahead and start right up near the old top at 11-3, not Rory McIlroy. I am going to go ahead and get on Jon Rahm. I mean,
get on him, DB.
I'm going to get on John. I'm all about him. I mean, he's won here. He enjoys it here. He's in incredible form. What else can you say about Jon Rahm? And I do think a lot of people are going to gravitate towards Tiger and Rory. I think he could be potentially a pivot play. We'll see what happens there in terms of tournaments, but I think he could be a pivot play. All right, I'm going to drop down, and then I'm going to come back and give you my favorite play in this range. I'm going to go ahead and go down to the bottom of the 9K range as well and play Sung J M at 9,100. Now, he's never played here before. This is his first time out, but obviously, I'm sorry, he did play here last year. He finished 52nd, so not great. But 10th last week at the Amex. He continues to just be an absolute stud. And I like him. I like him hanging in this field, making a cut at 9,100. I like the value. He checks every single box except for maybe driving distance. But he's putting. He putts well on POA. He's top 20 in this field in par 5 and greens in regulation. Scrambling is kind of middle of the pack, a little bit better than middle of the pack. So, and I really just like the value at 9,100 on Sung Jae. And maybe folks are starting to grow weary of playing Sung Jae, or they see the star-studded field and it's kind of a dead zone. I could see that too. What is that? Why are you doing that? Why are you making that weird movement?
You like to distract me when somebody makes a comment or whatever, and so I'm just distracting you just because I want to.
Okay. And then finally, my favorite play.
Something to say about Sung Jae.
Okay, my favorite play in this range is a guy who's played here 4 times. His best finish is a T25, and he has missed the cut all other times, and that is Xander Schauffele at $10,100. Runner-up at the Tournament of Champions, should have won, had it stolen from him when he 3-putted, lost to JT. Xander's just, I don't know. He's a different player to me than those 3 times he missed the cut here. He's a San Diego kid. He's a West Coast kid. He is, he's 14th in putting on POA over the last 100 rounds. He's 6th in par 5 scoring, 8th in greens in regulation, 24th in strokes gained around the green in recent form. He's obviously a bomber. 10-1 is an incredible value for Xander to me. You have the win equity. I think he would be motivated to win here in San Diego, or I guess more appropriately La Jolla. A La Jolla man clings to life. And La Jolla. Yeah. He is also my cash play. I'm rolling with Xander in cash. Love that I can get him at 10-1 in a cash lineup. So I'm going Xander, and my fade in this range, I think could be a little bit of a surprising fade. I'm going to fade Ricky Fowler at 9,700. I am tempted by the value of Ricky Fowler. I'm tempted by his, good finish.
I can't remember the words.
Ricky Fowler. By the fruit of another, I believe.
Tempted by the fruit of another. Okay,
yikes. Yep. Tempted by all that, but here's the facts. He's a horrible POA putter. Okay. He has a wretched course history here. He's missed 3 out of his last 5 cuts, and the other 2 cuts that he did make, he finished 66th and 61st. Now, here's something else about Fowler that a lot of people don't know just yet. He is now being coached by our buddy, John Tillery, which I'm excited about. I'm very much excited about that. Go JT. He also coaches Kisner and Scott Brown, Bryce Garnett. But he said it very, very subtly this week that he's working on a swing change, and he's working on it with JT. And I think there's just something a little bit to that. If you watched him Sunday, his ball striking was a little wonky at times. Now, he can scramble and putt like no other, but he doesn't putt very well on POA. And I also think I'm going to get a little ownership leverage on him. I think everybody's going to see the finish last week at the Amex, T10. I think everybody's going to see that, want to get on Fowler at that price range. So it's kind of I'm kind of planting a flag and saying I'm going to fade a guy who I think is going to be chalk. Maybe he'll end up being the chalk bomb come Wednesday night. So I'm fading Fowler. That's my ballsy fade.
All right, give me a quick recap on that, because I just need a little quick recap
Rahm,
on your
Xander, and M. Xander and Cash. Fowler's the fade.
Okay, I thought we had 3 GPPs in here.
Rahm, Xander, and M. 3 GPPs.
Okay.
Xander is also my cash. Fowler is my fade.
Okay. I think that what's throwing me off is we have so much disagreement right here. So not necessarily disagreement, just we don't have the same players. Hardly at all. Except for Xander. I'll start with that. He is a definite cash play for me. I love him this week. Checks all the boxes, 14th in the field and putting on POA, all the things, whatever. I love him. So I'm totally. Why are you laughing?
When you were singing, Josh Kistler said, "It sounds like Pat's impersonation of Jimmy Fallon's impersonation of Sting." Anyway.
All right. Anyway, so I'm going to start at the top too, but I'm going to not fade him, but I'm going to start with Tiger at 10-8. Love some Tiger. Look, here's the thing. This guy is literally the best ball striker in the world right now. He's in great form. I don't care what his ownership's going to be leading into this tournament. He's obviously won here a ton, so we can talk about course history and whatever else. But across the board, he checks all the boxes when it comes to the stats. Obviously, we know he's got the distance. Checks the box around the green. Par 5 scoring, he's 11th in the field. He's 23rd in scrambling. 10th in ball striking. Look, the guy's just playing fantastic right now. I'm going to play him. I don't care what his ownership's going to be. So I do like some Tiger at 10-8. I mentioned Xander was my cash play. I think he's a good tournament play as well, but I did kind of separate him out as a cash versus giving you kind of an extra pick with a couple GPP plays. I like Hideki at 9,900. I think he's a good play.
Yeah, you and 40% of other people. I've already seen all the chatter on Twitter about Hideki. He's going to be so freaking chalk this week. I've already seen it. So you're chalk city so far with Tiger and Hideki.
Okay. Let me explain something to the listeners here. DB spends most of his time during the day on Twitter. I do not. So I don't freaking know. I don't know that Hideki and Tiger have, so-and-so tout talking about them.
Hey, by the way, speaking of you and social media, can you please explain to me what that GIF was, that green strip on the Instagram story that you did today?
Oh, it's supposed to be grass. I searched grass, and that was like one of the first things that came up.
You searched grass.
Because on that particular clip, I was talking about the rough and the greens, and that the rough and the greens came up in the same clip, and so I was like, okay, well, grass.
I couldn't tell. It looked like a wavelength, like a green wave, like a sound wavelength.
Waving grass that was thick. I thought it was freaking perfect.
Everybody go look at our Insta stories.
Go check out the story and tell me that's not the perfect little gift for that moment.
I was like, what am I looking at? It looked like a tornado in the inside.
So maybe freaking Hideki's going to be chalk, but I'm just going by what I see here. He's checking the box around the greens. the guy is we all know he's a great ball striker. You look at, why do you laugh? God, this is so freaking annoying. I can't freaking talk without you laughing in the middle. Like,
Brian Halverson said, how are you going to explain your search of grass when your wife sees your search history?
It was the Instagram search when you're doing the story.
It was the stickers. Yeah, the stickers.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Sorry. Sorry. I will not. I promise I will not interrupt again.
Yeah. She checked the Google searches. That's far from the worst thing she's gonna find.
Y'all, hey, I don't know that we've ever told this story. I won't tell it now because we got too much to talk about. Maybe at another time. I have gotten in trouble for Pat's Instagram searching before with my wife. I have. Me. I got in trouble for Pat searching on Instagram.
Let's not get into that. Anyway, so where was I? All right, I like Hideki. Whatever.
I don't remember.
Another guy I liked that I was off. I actually was fading last week. Is Tony Finau, and he may be chalky. I don't care. Again, I like him at 9,300. You look at his course history here; he's been fantastic. I mean, he hasn't finished outside of the top 20 the last 4 years that he's played here. Really, outside the top 25 out of the last 5 years, he's gained 38 strokes on the field. He is definitely checking the boxes when you look at the stats. 11 strokes gained off the tee, 7th in ball striking. He's 7th in greens in regulation, top 20 in scrambling. Obviously, always has plenty of distance. And I think, he doesn't have he's a guy that just, I don't know. I just feel like, I don't know.
Did you lose your spot?
I lost my train of thought.
We're off to a raging start.
Here's where I was going to, and you were like, before the show, you were like, let's make this show crisp and clean.
Off the rails.
It's not crisp and clean so far. But anyway, here's what I was going to say. His form isn't that great. I did like what he did last week, by the way. He did finish T14, even though I was fading him. But the form hadn't been great. But I do like some Finau this week. My fade, here's where it gets a little bit interesting, is Sung J M. Don't like him. I don't like him at 9,100. Look, actually, the price I don't care about.
Yeah, I was about to say, what are you telling me?
But you know what? He was T52 here last year. He is 107th in the field in scrambling. He's 87th in driving distance. I just don't like. Just not a big fan of Sung J M this week.
Yeah, I mean, he's not a super bomber, but he hits it plenty long. Like he hits it plenty long. To me, he's not. He better
score on that. I will say this: he better score on that North course when he gets it. Otherwise, if he let's just say if Sung J M plays, I haven't seen the tee times yet, but if he's playing the North course on Thursday and he doesn't get off to a good start,
well, that's everybody. Jeez, I mean, like you're going to be sweating everybody on Thursday.
No, but I think there's some people that could come back and play well on the North. It's like I got the question last week a lot about the stadium course, and do I want to avoid a guy who's starting off on the stadium course? Well, not really, even though it's the toughest course, because we saw some people score, just kill that course. So it just depends on style, and in different styles. I mean, these courses are way different when it comes to style of play, I think.
Well, and when weather isn't a factor, I don't really think it matters that much. There's something to be said of, hey, if I can go out there on Thursday, grind away on the tough course, and come in where I need to come in, and then know the next day I'm going low. I'm gonna go make the cut, rather than I kind of crap the bed on the easy course day one, and then I got to go to the second course knowing how low I got to go when it's tough. I don't know. So
yeah. On the other hand, like if Sung J M gets the South on Thursday and doesn't play well, cool.
I just don't.
That course could kill him, I think.
It's just hard to pass up on that value for Sung J. You're going to get a cut maker. That's the one thing we didn't talk about. Like, with the strength of this field in DFS, I mean, this is a big boy field here. Like, I'm not – there are some guys in the 6K that I'm interested in, but I'm very much, looking a little more balanced.
Tour players.
Yeah.
And I'm totally in agreement.
I think the cream rises to the top here. Don't get caught up in the Andrew Landry story of last week. This is a very different golf course, a very different golf tournament, different field. This is not a pro-am, like this is not the same thing as what we saw last week. So I think the cream rises to the top, and for the value that Sung J is at 9,100, I can't pass that up. All right, let's get to the 8K range. I'm going to go with a couple guys here that I think may be, again, kind of pivot plays. Not to say that I don't like a couple of these other guys in this range, but I think my two favorite for tournaments, I'm going to go with Colin Morikawa at $8,900. Scotty Scheffler being right there. Now, listen, I don't dislike Scotty Scheffler. We were all over him last week. He paid off. But I think in terms of tournaments, I think it's worth considering a pivot to Colin Morikawa, an equally talented young player and somebody who's also in incredible form. He's a West Coast kid. I think that's going to be something that's a little different. Scotty's not a West Coast boy. May not be, we don't have enough data yet to see how he performs on POA, but POA may not be the most friendly surface to old Scotty, but I'm sure that it's something that Colin is quite familiar with. So I like that on Morikawa, and I like the pivot from Scheffler. And then right below Scheffler, my next play in tournaments is going to be Cam Smith, coming off his victory at the Sony. He's got a great record here. His last 3 attempts, he's finished 9th, 20th, and 33rd. He's an incredible scrambler, one of the best scramblers on the PGA Tour, and actually 6th in this field in strokes gained putting on POA over the last 100 rounds is Cam Smith. A good ball striker. So I think Cam is another good one. I think Scheffler is going to soak up some ownership. Maybe Jordan and Snedeker pull a little bit of ownership too, and maybe Smith and Morikawa are forgotten. Maybe not. Maybe Smith ends up being a little chalky. Everybody was excited to play Morikawa in the beginning of the year, so maybe I'm wrong, but I like both of those guys. And my favorite play in this range in cash is Cameron Smith, so I'll be rolling with him. My fade in this range, and I alluded to it maybe in the intro, is Snedeker. And there's a couple of reasons for this. The weather is going to be too good. We already talked about this. The weather is too good. Snedeker is on record talking about how much he loves playing in tough conditions, also how much he loves POA green surfaces, which reflects in the stats. He's an incredible POA putter over his career. He's an elite scrambler on the tour, so he has those things going for him. But he is almost dead last in strokes gained par fives and driving distance, and he's middle of the pack at best in greens and regulation. And so the ball striking's not there. And here's one difference, and it's very subtle, but I think it's a difference. You mentioned the North Course is now bent grass. That's one less round that he has on POA. Now, he's not as great on bent grass. And I know that's just one round, but, in years past, he had 4 rounds on a POA surface here. Now he's got 3. That's probably worth a stroke. But maybe a stroke and a half on Snedeker, which could be the difference in making the cut or not making the cut, or returning value if he's chalk or not returning value if he's chalk. So I think Snedeker, with all the course history, I think you fade Sneds here. This is too good a weather for him. The ball striking isn't there, and one less round on POA. There you go. Cheers.
Wow. All right. So as different as this 9K and 10K range was, it's almost completely opposite. My two favorite plays were Colin Morikawa and Cam Smith.
Wow.
I was surprised
total agreement.
I thought you were.
You totally redeemed yourself.
I thought you were going to go Morikawa, which I understand. I was a little surprised you were going to go back to the well with Cam Smith, or I went back to the well.
So maybe we're wrong. Maybe they're going to be chalk.
Cam Smith could be. Why? Because I said it.
No, well, I mean, like the fact that both of us were on it. Like I'm just saying maybe. I don't know. I kind of felt like everybody would be like, "Oh, give me more Scotty Scheffler," but maybe not. Maybe I don't know.
Well, I'm going to switch now because I'm going to make Cam Smith my cash play because he was going to be a GPP. And I'm going to make this guy who is not in really great form, but is checking a lot of boxes. Billy Horschel at 8,100.
God, he burned us. He burned us.
I know. I'm going to throw him in as a tournament play. Definitely a great ball striker. I mentioned driving accuracy. Now, look, I do think it's a small thing. It's not like, something I'm like 100% looking at. But I do like accurate drivers of the ball this week. And he's 21st in the field. He's 18th in par 5 scoring. He's not that long off the tee. But I just think this could be, he's decently long, but he's not like that. But I don't know. I just think Billy Horschel could be a decent play this week. And you look at his tournament history here, and it's not all that bad. I mean, He's gained 17 strokes over the field over his last 4 times playing here. He finished T8 in 2016. He was T8 last year. So obviously he's played this course well in the past. I think Horschel could be a good GPP play coming off of a week where he burned everybody, and his ownership's going to certainly be low. So I do like some Horschel. I think he'll be a good tournament play. My fade is going to be Joaquin Niemann. Yes. Going to fade some Niemann this week at 8,600. He finished T72 in his only start here. Looking at stats, he is 135th in the field and putting on POA greens over the last 100 rounds. He's 117th in driving accuracy. He is 102nd in scrambling. Everybody loves some Niemann. I like Niemann. I'm a big fan, but I feel like the ownership is certainly going to be, higher than it should be. I will fade Joaquin Niemann, which is, trying to get a little bold there with that one. And I know there's going to be some haters of that one, but I like that as a fade. By the way, I just got to mention, we got Jordan Spieth in this range back in the field. I don't think we can't avoid just at least talking about him at 8,500. I thought you might actually get him in the 7K range, but we're getting him at 8,500. And guess what? I'm probably going to be suckered into throw him into a lineup because he's going to be like 3% owned. I know 3-4% owned is my guess, and nobody wants to play him. He's a great putter. I mean, look, on POA, historically, he is a good putter. But there's going to be a lineup with him. I'm just not going to be able to avoid putting him in at least one lineup.
Here's what we know about Jordan. And there are things I like about Jordan. There are things I don't like about Jordan. I don't like how whiny he is on the golf course, okay? But here's what I do know about him and like about him. He is absolutely one of the most fierce competitors when he's on the golf course that is out on the PGA Tour. He doesn't look like much of a competitor, but he is. He's not Brooks. He's not, swag cat DJ, or he's not, Bryson and his buffed up self. But Jordan is a competitor, and you got to know that in this offseason, he is tired of hearing about how bad he sucks. He is tired of not being at the Hero, at the President's Cup, at the Century Tournament of Champions, at all these events he's been used to playing. I feel like Jordan is going to have a better year. I mean, obviously, it's hard to have a much worse year given his talent, his ability. But I do think there's a spot where Jordan comes out of nowhere and makes some people regret not playing him. I don't know if that's this week. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. But that's just my 2 cents. I think at some point he's gonna roll with it. If you're a Jordan fan and you like pulling for the guy, then play him. Play him in a GPP. That's part of what this is all about. So I'll go with that. I do want to give a slight break in the action here to talk about one contest coming up for the Masters, Pat. I'm really excited about it. We are local Augusta boys, born and raised right here in Augusta, Georgia. We love doing Masters contests every year, and we have a contest that's running starting right now through Masters, or actually 2 Masters, and it's a great deal for everybody. Everybody can get involved in this, and it is from our friends at mybookie.ag. If you are a current mybookie.ag account holder and you signed up under our promo code TourJunkies, or if you've not done so and you become a MyBookie account holder under our promo code TourJunkies, you qualify for this contest. Now, if you are a newcomer, you have to go to mybookie.ag, use promo code TourJunkies. When you sign up, you get a 50% deposit bonus, all right? So you actually get 3 really cool things here. A 50% deposit bonus, a $10 free Masters bet, and an entry into this contest, or a way to win this contest. You have to deposit at least $50 for this to be active, okay? So there you go. Now, here's the contest for current and new MyBookie contest winners. If you hit any bet at 20-1 or more or longer between now and Masters Week on any sport or religion or politics or anything that you can bet on at MyBookie, if you create a parlay and you hit it, it does. I don't care what you do. If you hit anything at 20-1 or greater, you get thrown into the pot to win $500 in Masters merchandise. So you're like, boys, I can't make it to the Masters this year, but I'd love to go shopping. Guess what? We will do the shopping for you, and we will ship it to you. $500 in Masters merch. All you got to do is hit a 20-1 bet or greater. Now, if you hit multiple 20-1 bets in this time frame, you get more entries. All right. If only one of you does this the whole time, then guess what? You win. If 10 of you do it, then we're going to draw a name at random live. It will be a lot of fun. We'll do that just before Masters Week. But that's how you do it. So current mybookie.ag account holders who signed up under Tour Junkies, new ones who sign up using promo code Tour Junkies and deposit at least $50. You got to hit any bet at 20 to 1 or greater. You can bet $5. You can bet $1. You can bet $100. I don't care. But when you hit the bet at 20 to 1, you got to send us a screenshot of your ticket ID. You can DM it to us, email info@tourjunkies.com, DM on Instagram or Twitter. Whatever you want to do, you just got to show it to us. We'll check it with our MyBookie folks and make sure you're a TJ person and you get entered into the contest. $500 in Masters merch. $500. That's a pretty sweet deal. That is just the first contest that we're going to talk about tonight. We got another one coming up later that we'll talk about with the Players Championship for all you players out there. Pat, I'm excited about that one. That's going to be a fun contest. Let's get your betting prowess going. You know, if you're smart, you're gonna tail my picks on DB's Big Balls betting card. You're gonna hammer that. But 20 to 1, that's not hard. You can hit a 20 to 1 bet.
Yeah, it's easy.
I mean, Cam Smith's 40 to 1 on my bookie right now.
I like that.
Colin Morikawa's 30 to 1, I think. So yeah, you can do that. You ready for the 7K?
That cup you're drinking out.
Dude, this thing is old.
You had that?
I've had this for 4 years. And I quit drinking it.
I don't know why it's the first time I've ever seen you.
Well, this is the first time I've ever used it because it's big. So I can do my...
It's so huge.
This will handle me all the way through the Tour Junkies After Dark show. So
see, that's what I need. See, people they see me refilling a lot, but I have this tiny Masters cup.
Well, that's your freaking problem. No shit, Sherlock. Why don't you got one of these, or you don't have like a Tour Junkies one, but you have a Yeti.
Yeah, but we had complaints of like ice jiggling, and the Yeti hasn't made.
I'm done with it. If you complain over ice jiggling in the microphone and you listen to us, I don't even know why you're still listening to us. That doesn't even make sense. But like, I'm barely like microphone's way over here. I'm drinking right here. If that sets you off, then we were probably going to run you off anyway. I'm sure at some point. Because I don't even care about that.
You're probably right.
All right,
so we're going to talk about the 7K range. I don't know. I had a lot of trouble here in the 7K range. But I'm going to start with a guy I love in this range, and that is Lanto Griffin at 7,900, a guy who's just been fantastic lately. I think he is a cash and a GPP play. I just love him. I mean, the guy's been just lights out. He's checking the boxes across the board. I mean, ball striking, scrambling. He's 22nd in the field in driving distance. He's second in the field in par 5 scoring. I mean, Lanto Griffin is a guy that you want to play and just cash, GPP, love him. I mean, and he's in great form. So I will play I'm just all about some Lanto at 7,900. Also, Harris English at 7,400. Checks a box as well as in recent form. He's got good course history here. You look at let's see. You look at his last 5 times playing here. He did miss the cut last year, but T8 in 2018, top 15 in 2017, T31 in 16, and second place in 2015. Harris English is also 14th in the field in strokes gained putting on POA greens over the last 100 rounds. And so I like him. I like him, Harris English. Another guy I'll throw out there at the bottom of this range. Now, I know this guy isn't in great recent form. I don't think he's really not a guy that's popping for you lately. And he's missed the last 2 cuts at this event. But before that, he finished T28, T18, and T11 at 7,000. Johnny Vegas. I like some Vegas this week with his course history. And then you look at the stats for old Johnny Vegas. He checks the box in, let's see, 2nd off the tee, 8th in ball striking, 11th in driving distance, 10th in par 5 scoring. I do like some Johnny Vegas. Despite his sort of spotty recent form, he did finish T55 last week at the American Express. So kind of a cheap, low option, low-owned GPP play. I do like some Johnny Vegas. Everyone is going to be tempted to play some Keegan. And I got to talk about Keegan.
Okay.
I want to play him this week. And I need the people. I need the people.
Okay, well, that's because
out there.
That's because you're a course history whore. That's why.
No,
but
no,
he's
no. He he's played well recently. I mean, he was T12 at the Sony Open. He did miss a cut before that. He's checking boxes.
What boxes is he checking?
Actually, no, he's not.
Yeah, he ain't checking any boxes.
So he's not
he ain't checking a box. He ain't checking a damn box.
So that's right there. Maybe that's the one reason I'm gonna play some Keegan.
I mean,
watch him win. I think maybe you bet him. What do you got? What do you get Keegan at on my bookie?
I don't know. Yeah, maybe you throw like a little half uni on Keegan, and then you forget him in DFS, because if he's a chalky Keegan, is never a Keegan that you want. Never.
And here's the guy, though, that I want to fade this week, and he burned me. I didn't mention him on the show. I played him as my one and done just because he sucked me in, and that has been on at 7,700. I'm not going to play him. Not going to play him.
Wow.
I think people are going to be drawn to him because of that price. He had a huge price drop from last week, and I can't remember what his price was, but it was a pretty big drop. He is 125th in this field in driving accuracy. He is 150th. 50th. There were 156 guys in this field. He is 150 in strokes gained putting on POA greens over his last 100 rounds. You burned me last week, and you know what? I just can't play you, so I'm going to fade you this week.
Okay. Well, I could not agree more on Lanto and Harris English. I think both will be pretty chalky in the 7K range, but there's a lot of names here, so it could get a little diluted. You can still play them. For the sake of being a little different, I'll switch it up. But Lanto and English were both guys I like. I'll go ahead and roll with Lanto and Cash. I think he's a lock in Cash for sure. But I'm going to go back to the well with Bud Cauley, who I talked up last week, and he finished fourth, had a fantastic week. Old Bud did. Checks a box in par 5s, greens in regulation, scrambling, strokes gained around the green. Finished 13th here last year, 25th the year before in 2016. He's only missed one cut out of his last 4 attempts here. So I think Cauley's interesting at 7,600. I also think it's interesting. This is kind of like your Billy Horschel play. I think it's going to be interesting to go back to the well on old Kokrak and just see what happens. Now, if you look at last week, okay, because Kokrak checks all the boxes, okay, and he checks the boxes this week. If you look at Kokrak, he checks a box in par 5, greens in regulation, driving distance. The only thing he doesn't do, he doesn't scramble well and he doesn't putt well. But that's short term and long term. He does not scramble well. He does not putt well. When you look at the Amex last week, he was almost neutral strokes gained off the tee, which is rare for him. Usually, he's gaining strokes gained off the tee. He was less than a stroke lost in approach, which is unusual. Normally, he's in the positive. He lost strokes around the green, which is typical. And he was like half a point over on putting, which is actually better than normal, okay? But he hasn't played since November. Shaking the rust off, getting the driver and the irons worked out, and he wasn't horrible. Like, it wasn't like, oh my God, he lost 6 strokes with his irons. He was absolutely terrible. He was actually pretty close to neutral and almost made the cut and came back on Saturday. And the thing that he did the worst, which is scrambling, is the thing he always does the worst at. Yet, despite that, he still has a decent record here with a 20th last year, a 25th in 2016, and 1 missed cut in 2017. So I think Kokrak is an interesting tournament play at 7,700. And then finally, I'll give you a low-owned guy, a lower price guy as well. Right there, it's actually a good Keegan pivot. You know I'm a sucker for some Matt Jones. Won the Australian PGA over the fall. Finished here, 13th here last year, 31st back in 2016. The form is there. And here's the deal, too. Matt Jones, tremendous par 5 scorer. Number 3 in the field in par 5s. Checks the box in driving distance. He's a bomber. He can scramble well, too. He's 14th in this field in strokes gained around the green over the last 50 rounds. I think Matt Jones is an interesting pivot. In terms of fades, Molinari's a fade, $7,900. It's an easy fade, but it's a fade. He checks 0 boxes, and he's in horrible form. And he really has no great history here to speak of. It hadn't been terrible.
Poor guy.
Huh?
He was on top of the world.
He was, man.
Up all the way up until the Masters of last year.
He was. Yeah. So there you go. I mean, in terms of my bookie, Lonto's at 60-1. That's something I'm looking at. English is 80-1. Now, DB's Big Balls betting cards is known for having some triple-digit guys on there, but this is definitely a week where I think I'm going to be a little shorter. Just because we mentioned I think this is a week where the cream rises to the top. So I don't know how many guys over 100-1 I will have, but Jones does interest me at 140-1 on my bookie. Maybe an each way bet there if you can get a top 5 each way. But Lonto and English are a couple that I'm lining up to potentially be on my Big Balls betting card. So there you go.
Okay.
You ready to get into the 6K range? Let's hit that real quick, and then we have first of all life-changing information we want to share, another contest we want to share, another big Tour Junkies announcement. You do not want to stop listening to this after we make the picks. There's a ton of information coming. So 6K guys, Pat, I know we both said we probably not really flirt too much with a lot of guys in the 6K, but if you were going to, who are you on right now?
Well, I'm going to give you a couple guys. Now, I'm going to start with Matt Naismith, who we mentioned last week. We were both on him, and he came through for us. I think you can play him again. I mean, he's at 6,600. He's definitely a bomber. I mean, he's ninth in this field in driving distance.
Driving distance?
Driving distance. And anyway, he's in great form, so I like some Matt Naismith at 6,600. Carlos Ortiz at 6,900. He was a guy I kind of got on late last week and did make the cut. I was sweating it a little bit, but I do like some Carlos Ortiz. He is 5th in the field in putting on POA over the last 100 rounds, so I like his form. He's made a lot of cuts lately. He's 11th in the – or is that 11? It's either 11th or 17th in the field in scrambling. He checks a box in driving distance, par 5 scoring. You look at his last 3 times playing here. He did miss the cut last year, but before that he finished 49th and an 11th place finish a few years ago. So I think Ortiz could be a little bit interesting there at 6,900. Last guy I'll give you, CT Pan, 6,700. Now, not a guy we necessarily know is like a big bomb or anything like that, and we haven't seen him lately, but he finished T11 at the OHL Classic in Mexico, which is his last start on the PGA Tour. Checks the box in scrambling and also par 5 scoring. He's made the cut the only 3 times he's played here, where he's finished 66 last year, 35th the year before, and 2nd the year before that. So CT Pan, I like him at 6,700. I think he could be just sort of a sneaky, low-owned guy here in this 6K range. So there you
go. Totally agree with you on Ortiz. He was a guy I was kind of looking at. I'll go a guy who has horrible record here, but really checks some boxes is Harold Varner III. Great par 5 scorer, great scrambler. I think he's interesting at 6,900. I'm going to go right back with you with Matt Naismith. Really proud of that call last week and the Chase Seifert pick last week. And then finally, I'll give you a guy that I started looking and I was like, dang, he's popping again. And I kind of felt like I shouldn't mention him again. People are going to be like, oh, you're such a homer for this guy, or, what are you doing? But Henrik Norlander is popping again.
He is. He's very accurate off the tee, which I like.
Extremely accurate. Distance. Great ball striker, has the distance. He is number 2 in this field over the last 50 rounds in strokes gained par 5 scoring, and number 7 in this field in greens in regulation over the last 24 rounds. Now, listen, he's not a great putter, not a great scrambler, but he's a ball striker. So, if he has a decent week ball striking and he can get on these greens that are small, maybe some putts come in. Did not finish well at the Amex, but made the cut. But a T9th at the Sony, a T5th at the RSM. It's just tough for me to fade Norlander right now at that price. I think if you're going to go that low, I think Norlander's worth a shot. And then Chase Seifert down there below him is also in really hot form right now. So it'll be interesting. I'm not sure if I'll end up with these guys in the lineups when it comes time to make a lineup. But if you're playing in a big GPP and you want to do some mass entry stuff, I get it. I think I might roll with some of these guys. But if you're doing 3 max, single entry, cash for sure, I wouldn't go here. I don't think it's not the same week as last week. That's what I'll say. Just keep remembering that. It's not the same week. All right, Pat, anything else to add?
No, that's all I got. I can't wait to hear this advice that I need in my life.
All right, here's the deal. I just feel like I feel a burden.
A burden or a calling? Is this a calling or a burden?
No, I feel a burden to bring this to the attention of our listeners, because I feel like it will give life. I feel like it will change perspectives. I feel like it will, part of why we do this, Pat, is not just to try to get some good picks and have some fun with ourselves and try to make people money and ourselves money. But we do this to make people laugh, man, and make people enjoy life. And something that is in the world that will allow people to enjoy more life and laugh that a lot of people don't know about. Siwoo Kim is on Cameo. Yo. Siwoo Kim is on the Cameo app.
He's gone all up in our life this last
He is
week.
all over Cameo, and let me just tell y'all, it is the funniest stuff you have ever seen. If you are depressed, if you are in a fight with your wife, if you are mad at yourself, go on Cameo. You don't even have to have an account. You just go on Cameo and you type in Siwoo Kim or golf, and you can watch Siwoo Kim Cameo videos, and for only $25, you can have one made, and Siwoo will return that thing to you in about 3 days. And I just feel like the people need to know that that's out there, because as regular golf consumers, who watch Siwoo Kim,
we can provide examples of our I can provide 2 personal examples for me over the last week, which obviously brought on this whole conversation.
Dude, okay, hold on. We have some people on YouTube going, what the hell is Cameo? Okay, Cameo is an app, is a website where celebrities, or there's a very loose term, if you're not watching on YouTube, air quotes.
Loose.
Celebrities.
By the way, Snoop Dogg is the top celebrity on there if you go by price per Cameo.
All right, Cameo is where celebrities and influencers or whoever can get on there, and they will record a video for you. If you pay them money, they will record a personalized video for you, and you can get a video. So if you want, so actually we found out about Siwoo Kim about a week ago, and Pat's buddies in his fantasy football league found out about it, and they paid Siwoo Kim $25 on this website to record a video for Pat Perry. and you can go and actually watch Siwoo's video to Pat Perry on Cameo right now. And so you could say, hey, Siwoo, I want you to tell Pat that, he sucks at fantasy football and he should go, run in front of a pickup truck or whatever you want to tell him. And Siwoo Kim will look in a phone camera and record it and send it to you for $25. Now, you also have like some hoes out there, some hoes that people will pay money to send their buddy a happy birthday or whatever. You got you got Brett Favre will do a cameo. You got all these
great idea.
All these different things, right?
You got like scrolling through the people on Cameo that can. I mean, there's so many ideas for stuff that you could use in your personal lives, because there's like, I know you all have your groups that you're on, your text groups, your whatever. That when there's some guy, some celebrity, there's maybe an inside joke, you're going to be able to find it. You're going to be able to find it and get them to do a cameo. It's going to be great for you. Dude. This is going to change your life.
It's life-changing. It really is.
I didn't know what you were going to say, but it is. It's life-changing. It really is. Like, as far as, like, just screwing with your friends or having fun. Or
it's the best $25. Listen, you can blow $25 a lot of different ways. And there is no better way to blow it than having Siwoo Kim record a cameo for one of your boys. It is freaking hilarious. But you don't even have to pay money to go and watch the cameos that he's recorded. So you could go right now on Cameo.com, search Siwoo Kim, and watch the video that Pat's buddies paid him to do for Pat Perry. It's the best. It is just the best. I don't know any other. I looked at other golf people that are on there, and it's mostly just golf hoes that are on there. like Luke Donald's on there and he charges $200 for a cameo. I want to be like,
$200?
Who's paying $200 for a Luke Donald cameo? But anyway, $25 for Siwoo Kim to me improves your mental health. It improves.
He knows how to market. He knows his price value right there. $25. I mean, he could knock out 10 of those videos, whereas Luke Donald's sitting there trying to get $200 and nobody's wanting to.
Luke is an idiot. Who's going to pay $200 for what is this 1999? What are we doing here? I'm not paying $200 for Luke Donald. Oh God, you guys gotta go check it out. I know we over dramatized that. We may have oversold it, but that's how important it is. You got to go watch the Siwoo Kim. Go ahead and, hey, go get him to do a video because the last thing we want is him to be like, oh, nobody wants me, and then he quits doing it. No. We need him to keep going. So give him some business. Oh. All right. You know what I forgot? The best part in at least 2 videos, including the one of yours that he did for you. His smoke detector is going off in the background. Did you hear it?
Really? No,
yeah,
I didn't even notice that.
I was watching it and I was like, you know that horrible beep on your smoke detector? It's like it happens in the middle of the night and you can't tell which one it is, and it's like it happened, and I was like, I'm like looking around like, shit, I got to figure out a smoke detector thing.
He probably does that on purpose.
And then I pause and I go and I replay, and it happens again. It happens in 2 videos. In the background of his video, his smoke detector is going off.
Somebody needs to help Siwoo on checking the battery on that damn thing.
Hey,
He's getting a beep.
Oh, we don't want him at the burn unit, dog. We don't want him withdrawing for the burn unit.
No, that's what I'm saying. Help him out.
Oh, that darn fire alarm killed me.
Is this what's making his golf game struggle? Hell, he shot 87 in the first round last week. So, damn, he's doing too many damn cameo videos.
Well, you can thank your fantasy football boys for paying him to give you a message. I can't even, The fire alarm thing absolutely killed me. It made my dog bark. I was watching it. My dog started going ape shit. It was terrible. Yeah, it's incredible. All right. A couple more announcements real quick before we get to the chunk and run. We got a good chunk and run. We're going to talk about in the chunk and run a stat that we hate for using for predicting golf, for betting or DFS, a stat that we don't like and why we don't like it and why we don't think you should use it. It's going to be good. All right, but before we get to that, Pat, I feel like the listeners, especially those loyal listeners on YouTube, need to know that something big is coming to the Tour Junkies website in just a couple of weeks, probably less than a couple of weeks. We're really excited about it. It is, I don't know, should we say it or what should we do? Should we tease it? Should we say it? What do we do here?
I think you tease it a little bit.
Why don't you tease it? I would like to hear you try and tease it.
I'm going to tease it. Let's just say there's a hut. There is a hut. If you know what a hut is, it's like...
I just got vodka on my nose.
There's a hut.
Oh.
There's a hut. Like a hut, like a hut is something, like you could say hut, like football, or it's like a hut, like people live in or something, like a little hut. And in this hut, there's a lot of nuts. Okay, so in this hut, you're gonna find some nuts, and you're gonna want to eat those nuts.
God dang. Maybe we should tell them so they don't think it's like some sort of gay porn edition.
I got nothing left. Anyway.
Adam Olmstead said, "I'm half staff. Come on, tell me."
I was trying to find a funny way to put this, but
all right.
Anyway,
well,
go ahead and just say the whole thing.
All right, it's gonna be called Golby's Nut Hut. Okay, Golby is the name of our mascot, our squirrel mascot, and one of the reasons that we named him that was the idea of a blind squirrel's. Finds a nut every now and then, which is the game of golf. If you play golf, every now and then you find a good swing, you rotate the face right at the right time and you hit a good one. Or, betting, DFS, trying to play this wild game of golf, every now and then you find a nut, and that's important. So we are opening up Golby's Nut Hut, it is going to be a membership, a behind the paywall membership. However, there will be no written content behind this paywall. There will be no video content. There will be a chat room that will be 24/7 for listener engagement, communication back and forth. But also me and Pat will be in here all the time. We'll have a scheduled Wednesday night chat session where we will dump all of our caddy knowledge, our PGA Tour coach knowledge that we got on Wednesday night. We will share our thoughts from that have changed maybe from Monday night's recording of the podcast. We'll answer any questions. We'll have a great time. It'll be a fantastic thing that you can join and be a part of. And guess what? It's only $10 a month. Just $10 a month. Not $10 a week, $10 a month. It is that easy, that simple. And there's other benefits too. There's other benefits that we'll get to, including, now that we brought it up, if you're a member, we will do once a month a free cameo video for you where you can get me or Pat doing a video to either yourself or a buddy, somebody who sucks at DFS, whatever. We'll do that. You get a discount, an ongoing lifetime discount in the Tour Junkie shop. You get first access to our contests and other things we do. Awesome stuff. We would love for you guys to join and be a part of it. It's long overdue. We need a place where the community can communicate. And we don't want to do a bunch of content behind the paywall. We're not going to do models and rankings and articles and all that mess. We never wanted to do that. But we do want something where the loyal TJ listeners can get the knowledge that we get from caddies and coaches on Wednesday night. That's not guaranteed every Wednesday night, but a lot of Wednesday nights we'll get it, and it will be Golby's Nut Hut where we'll all gather and look for some nuts. It'll be a great time.
And it won't go out to it won't be on any other platform. It will only be
on our website.
Nut House.
Only in the Nut Hut. And it is 20% off of all Tour Junkie swag. Not 10%, 20% off. Unbelievable. So we hope you guys all join. It's going to be a good time. Finally, one more announcement, Pat, for the Players' Championship. We have an incredible deal also going on for the players that I want to pull up real quick. The 2020 Players' Championship is happening. Something that we have done the last 2 years, Pat, is we have been privileged enough to be in a skybox on number 17, the Island Green, number 17, at TPC Sawgrass. We have been in there, and you get all-you-can-eat food, all-you-can-eat alcohol.
It's fantastic.
It is beautiful. It is climate controlled, which AKA means air conditioning, which means you don't sweat your balls off. Because if you've ever been to the TPC Players' Championship, even in March, it is hot as a hootenanny. So we have been there, and this year we are going to offer to a few select group of people. We have limited quantity here. A deal to attend the Players' Championship in a skybox suite on 17 for, now, before everybody freaks out, it's $795 a person, okay? $795, but that is actually a deal when you go and shop this. We have a connection, and we will put you up in that skybox, all your food, all your alcohol, all day long, $795 per day, per person, okay? Thursday through Sunday. So you can buy 1 day, you can buy 2 days, 3 days, all 4 days, whatever you want to do. And we will pick a select few, probably 4 to 6 of you, to join us in on one of these days in the skybox. And we will have a Tour Junkie skybox at the 2020 Players' Championship. If you are interested, all you need to do is email us, info@tourjunkies.com, info@tourjunkies.com. First come, first serve. You have got to email us and let us know that you're going to be there. We have done it, again, last 2 years. It's been incredible. So here's what I love about it, Pat. Do you remember doing this? One of my favorite parts is all the gambling that we can do, because you're in the skybox.
Oh, it's great stuff. Yeah, like
Yeah, you can see
to the pin, whatever.
Yeah, you can see 16 green. So you can see 16 green. So you can bet on 16 green. We were betting on the first caddy to make it to 17T, the first player to make it to 17T, the ball in the water or not.
Balls in the water, yeah, it was great.
You're betting.
I won a lot of those bets.
Yeah, you're overlooking.
I still owed some money.
No, you're overlooking the lawn where like a lot of the people sit. So you got like we were betting on the first guy to stand up. You remember that? We were like, picking guys out of the crowd that were like laying on the lawn and going first guy to stand up. We were betting on that. We were betting on first guy to spot a girl wearing a romper, like all kind of stuff.
There's a lot of pretty people, by the way, in those boxes.
We weren't doing that last one, but other people were. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. So it's not just that you get to watch the golf on 17. It's a lot of fun. We would love for you to do that, take part in that, and hopefully, we'll pick 4 to 6 of you on a day to join us in the skybox, and we will have a grand time. But yeah, you can buy Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You can buy one ticket, $7.95 a day, or you can buy a couple. But again, limited quantities, first come, first serve. Email info@tourjunkies.com. One more announcement. Please go to our YouTube page and watch the Junior Junkies video that we released and give it a thumbs up and share it. My kid is on there, and he needs to go viral. I need to get him a job. He needs to start earning his keep. He's 9 years old. It's about time that he gets a job with the PGA Tour, the Golf Channel, something, because he loves golf, and he's freaking hilarious, and it's just time. So I'm tired of paying his bills. So go to YouTube and do that for us. We'd appreciate it. The Junior Junkies videos are hilarious. If you have kids, you need to show it to your kids. What'd you say, Pat?
Yeah, I think you're right. I was wondering, you're not going to talk about the PGA show we're going to be at this week?
Oh, yeah. We're going to the PGA show. I leave tomorrow. Pat leaves tomorrow. We're going to be at the PGA show in lovely Orlando, Florida. It'll be a good time. We'll track us on Instagram. We'll do some Insta stories. We'll do some. We'll meet up with some friends in the business, friends in the industry. Show you some stuff that's going on. There's always some weird Asian stuff at the PGA show. We'll have a good time with that. There's always like some stupid doohickey that you thought you need and you don't. That'll be fun. So follow us on Instagram at @tour_junkies. Check that out. That'll be a good time. Me and Pat together is always a good time.
It's always a good time. It's going to be great. I can't wait.
If you're not following us on Periscope and have notifications set up, you may want to do that, because most of the time when me and Pat get together, we will at some point do a live Periscope and then realize,
and it will go down.
And then we will delete it. So if you want to catch that, yeah. All right. Are we good? Ready to go to chunk and run?
Yeah.
Wrap this up?
Let's go.
All right. Which stat do you hate or don't think is any good when evaluating players for PGA, DFS, or golf betting? What's a stat?
Like you should start. I feel like you should start with this.
Okay, I'll start.
Because I feel like you have. We need to get going. We need to get rolling.
Okay, I have two, but I'm going to save one because I think we should do this question again. I think for a lot of listeners, this would be something that would be interesting for them to hear. So I have two. I'm going to save one, and we're going to do this again in like a couple months. But I will go ahead and pick on your proximity stat. You knew that was coming. I am not a fan of the proximity stat. And honestly, Pat, I'm not doing this to try to make fun of you. I'm honestly trying to do this to help you as a friend. You know what I mean? Like, as a friend, as someone who is somewhat invested in how you do on DraftKings or Fanduel or how you bet on MyBookie, I am actually invested in that. And as a friend, I want you to stop using the proximity stat, because I think it is more. I'm about to use a very technical term for a lot of smart people. I think it is more noise than signal. Here's the definition of proximity. It is total proximity feet gained, averaged over measured shots. Okay? So let me poke some holes in this. First of all, it's an average. It is only on measured shots.
Well, every stat's pretty much an average.
No.
Anyway, go ahead.
It is only on measured shots with ShotLink. So if you follow this enough, you know that a lot of courses, a lot of events don't even have ShotLink. For example, this week, you will not have ShotLink on the North Course. So if I'm dialed in on the North Course this week, you will never know. If I was dialed in at the Century Tournament of Champions or the WGC HSBC or Mayakoba or the Open Championship, you will not know, because they don't have ShotLink data, or the Masters for that matter. It's not put into the ShotLink data. So you're missing a lot of shots, a lot of golf shots, okay? Plus, if you've ever been to a PGA Tour event and seen the people who operate ShotLink, they're basically Pat's dad. They're like 80 years old with nothing else to do. God bless them if they can actually spot the golf ball in the fairway at some point and happen to shoot it correctly. And if you followed Shot Tracker on your PGA Tour app, you know how drunk that thing is. So the fact that they even measure it accurately should be enough to tell you it's a lot of noise and very little signal. A guy could spray it all over the place for 18 holes, but stuff it twice and skew the numbers, okay? A guy could hit it to 45 feet all day long, but on a couple of short par fours, he hits it to 5 feet, and you're skewing the numbers. To me, it doesn't reflect consistent iron play and ball striking. The other thing is to think about, guys don't play the same schedule or play in the same conditions. Think about tee time wave advantages. Even if you are playing the same golf course, tee time wave advantages, wind, are the greens soft? Are they firm? Is the ball bouncing when it hits the green? Is it landing soft? Is it hard to control the spin? Is it not hard to control the spin? And are we even playing the same golf courses where that stuff kind of matters? And obviously that applies to every stat, and which is one reason why, if you've noticed, if you listen to DB in 2015 and 2016 when we first started, DB had a ton of stats. DB has definitely gone down in terms of how many stats I use. So, all stats are kind of like that. Like, golf is just such a variable game. They're playing different schedules in different conditions. I think that's a big deal. You could have a long hitter who may reach in 2 on a par 5. The second shot from 240 yards that hits the green is measured towards their proximity. That may be 50 feet, where Andrew Landry and his short knocking self may lay up to 80 yards and then hit his wedge to 8 feet. And now he looks like he's got better proximity. So I just think there's a lot of holes you can poke in it. I think there's a lot of noise and not enough signal to use the stats. Now, I know what Pat's trying to uncover in that stat, and I just think that either strokes gained approach or opportunities gained, which is a proprietary stat to Fantasy National, may be a better option. But Pat, respectfully, as your friend, as your brother, I want you to stop using proximity. Don't be mad.
I have a complete rebuttal to that, but go ahead. Go with your other ones that you hate.
I'm done.
You only had one stat was proximity?
Yeah, we're only doing one stat. Just one. Save the other one, because I have a second one. Save the other one.
All right,
Plus,
well, here my rebuttal to that is this. Look, for one, when we started this, I am not the stat guy. Like, let's get this straight. Like, anybody who's listening
you
to
were
this
not, but you're kind of turning into it.
Stat guy.
You're kind of turning into it.
No, I'm not. Not at all.
Yeah, he is.
As a matter of fact, I hate effing stats. As a matter of fact, if I could just throw out course history and form and everybody would love it, I'd be okay with that. But I do think there is some value for stats. I will say that. Here's what I'll say. The one thing you don't recognize is that sometimes when you have a stat, like a strokes gained approach or a ball striking or whatever it is, strokes gained, whatever you want to say, sometimes you then have to go narrow it down and add something else, add another level to that stat. And that's where I think proximity comes into play. I think when you look at strokes gained approach, well, let's add in proximity. Let's see the guys that may have great strokes gained approach. Let's take like a Ches Reavie, for instance, a guy who has great strokes gained approach stats, great greens and regulation stats, and then where is he on proximity? Is he top 10 on proximity on a course with maybe greens that are small, like we got this week, where you gotta hit it close to the pin, otherwise you're off. You're not. You maybe then you're having to scramble. Then I may look at a proximity stat. So it's an outlier stat for me. It's not a major stat. It's an outlier. And I think that's what's key for me with proximity. It's never a stat that I'm looking at like that's the major stat, but it is one that's an outlier. And I think that there is certainly some value in that. I think look, proximity there's a whole lot of different things you could say about it. You could talk about all the crap you just said with proximity.
Well, you weren't even listening. I don't even feel like you probably didn't even listen to me.
If a guy is consistently hitting it close to the pin, I think that's something you want to look at. And you know what?
Yeah, but that's not reflected in proximity.
I don't care what ShotLink says. on a day-to-day basis, because like most of the courses on tour actually do have shot link. Not right now, but if you go over the 60-plus courses that we play on tour, I'm sure
we don't play 60 courses on tour.
Or 60 tournaments, I mean, on tour, which is mostly 60 courses. There's more than 60 courses, actually. Then there's going to be shot link on most of them. So I don't think proximity is a bad stat at all. I don't think it's, I don't see your issue with it. I like it. I think it's a good stat.
Hey, by the way, we've already got a few emails on the Players Championship. Really pumped to see that. Keep them coming.
Okay,
all right.
Whatever.
What's the stat that you don't like, Pat?
The stat that I hate is strokes gained tee to green. I hate it. I mean, like, everybody wants to throw out strokes gained tee to green. Like, okay, so-and-so was number one in the field in strokes gained tee to green last week because they won. Well, guess what? Everybody's good from strokes gained tee to green when they win. I fucking hate that stat. It drives me crazy. Like, I don't even care any reason to play. Like, I never quote strokes gained tee to green.
Neither one of us do, but why do you hate it?
I just hate it.
But why? Like, can you give us a reason, maybe?
Because it's like, I feel like it's obvious. It's like saying that the sky's blue if they check the box of strokes gained tee to green.
Okay.
You know another stat I hate? He's a great win player. Fuck, I don't know if he's a good win player. How do I know he's a good win player?
Guess what we're getting on the podcast tonight? An explicit rating.
I mean, there's all this stuff like he's a great win player. He's a great player on the ocean of whatever.
On the Pacific, but not the Atlantic.
Yeah. I can't stand that kind of shit.
All right. Well, speaking of not being able to stand some stuff, the run portion of tonight's podcast, the non-golf related stuff is I wanted to know what are the 3 things that we bicker with our wives about that are little.
Yeah, this is where I got 3 from because I was thinking we were going with 3 stats.
The little things that you bicker with your wife about, or you get on to her about, or she gets on to you. The little thing, like the things in marriage, it's just like, God, why do we even argue?
Me. It's mostly for me. It's me getting or she getting on to me.
Yeah. All right. What are those for you?
Okay, so one of them for me is if anybody knows is listening to us. I'm the cook of our family. I love to cook. It's a kind of a side.
Very good at it. You're very good at it. I want to tell you that on the record. You're very good at that, Pat.
I appreciate that, but like if I make a slight change in something that I've cooked, like even spaghetti or something, I may add some garlic. Oh, fuck garlic, and so. It totally ruins it, and drives me crazy. I'm adding a spice here that's not even a spice, like something that's like giving it a little more kick, and you hate it, and it drives me crazy because I'm cooking for you, I'm cooking your dinner, and you're going to get mad at me because I did your dinner just because I changed it up a little bit. So that drives me crazy. Another thing, I have OCD, and when you change things up, I'm going to get mad. So I guess I will go back on one thing I said. Don't just show up in the bed on the other side of the bed where I'm there for, like I was there for 60 days in a row or more than that, maybe a year in a row. And then all of a sudden,
a year in a row,
she'll switch to the other side of the bed.
Oh, now that's insane. That's insane.
I'm like, what the?
I'm not even OCD, and that's insane. You have your side of the bed. I have my side of the bed.
Yeah, the side.
Why would you even change that? That's insane.
She does it. She changes it, and it drives me up the wall. Out of nowhere, she'll do. It's crazy. Another thing is the power bill.
Can't wait for this one.
I mean, this is the invisible stuff. I call it the invisible stuff because
the invisible stuff.
There'll be things that she will see that she didn't notice that I cut off it's like I shut the power off to the house before I left. But if I didn't change something to do with the heating and air conditioner or whatever, I totally screwed up her power bill, even though I cut off every single light and her hair dryer that was running in the background probably and her whatever else. I do everything in my power to cut all the power. And she gets on to me about the power bill. It drives me crazy. Okay, your turn.
Yeah, I think yours are better than mine. We should have ended on yours. All right. Well, one of the things that I noticed that irritates me is on the stove. We have one of those stoves where there is one there's one eye of the stove, front left, it says on the stove in letters, quick boil. Okay?
Oh, the quick boil. Yeah, I know the quick boil.
Yeah, that means, hey, this eye gets hot real quick. That's what that means.
That one's hot.
That one gets real hot. So, like, for example, you're cooking spaghetti, right? You have one pan or one pot that is for boiling the water for the noodles, and you have one pan that is for browning, the ground beef and making the sauce. You want the pan for the sauce and the ground beef on the regular eye at like a medium, so you don't burn the ground beef or burn the sauce or get it bubbling and popping everywhere, right? You want to put the water that you're trying to boil on the quick boil eye.
Mm-hmm. Of course. Why would you not?
This woman will grab the regular pan and put the pan on the quick boil and the pot with the water that she's trying to boil on the regular boil. And then gets mad when I'm like, babe, it says quick boil. Like, switch them and put this one over here where it says quick boil. All right. Second one.
I don't get it.
Second one is I want music in the car. Now, I understand I have 3 kids. When I got 3 kids in the car, listening to music is a hard thing to do. But, like, if it's just me and her, we're on a road trip. I love a road trip. Me and her, girl, listen, I'm going to rap in front of you. I'm going to show you the bars I got. I'm going to sing in front of you. I'm going to show you what I got. Let's sing together. Let's have a great time. Let's have the mood right. I want music in the car. And she'll just go reach that knob. Just turn it on down. You know what I mean? Like, just turn it down. She wants to talk or sleep or something other than listen to music. So we fight over that. Finally, the thing that irritates me the most, that is a small thing, is when we go to a Mexican restaurant and she orders a large queso.
No.
When she orders a large queso that is $8.95, and I make a comment, and she goes, I work my 40. I want to go, okay, yes you do.
No.
But a large $8.95 queso is a principal issue. Now, my little girl who's 4, I love her, and I will do anything for her, and she loves queso, but I will not pay $8.95 for a queso when my pollo con crema is $7.95. I'm not doing that. And then these girls want to leave a third of the queso in the bowl to harden before we walk out the door.
That's not happening.
Can we at least order a small queso for $5.95? Why do we got to order the large queso? And why is it $8.95? I can see your kitchen from my table. Like, I'm looking at your kitchen from my table, and you have a big pot that looks like
2 extra pours for the large.
It looks like a witch's pot that you are just putting a ladle into the thing, and you are charging me $8.95 for that. Meanwhile, a chicken had to die to pay for my pollo con crema, and it is $1 less. I do not understand it, and the large queso just sends me into a negative spot right off the bat. Right off the bat. And then they don't eat it. They don't eat the whole thing. So apparently you suffered. You have the same thing happen.
I've suffered that before.
Why do these women do this? It's just melted cheese.
It's melted. Now it's good melted cheese.
It is damn good melted cheese.
Get a small.
Can we get a small and then, like, hey, you finish it and then lick the bowl and now you want some more? Then we can get. You know what?
Who has ever run out of queso when they got a small?
Well, who's ever run out of? Yeah, who's ever used a whole large?
If they're gonna dig around the bowl.
I mean, I guess if you're not getting an entree.
If you're not getting an entree, yeah, but that's who doesn't get an entree. No, that's the thing. That's a whole nother realm. I'm with you there because we got chips, salsa. queso. There's all kinds of stuff. coming out.
Oh, God forbid! Then they order like the guacamole casera that they make at your table. That's like $11-$7.
That's good stuff.
It's
That's good
delicious,
stuff.
but it's also $100. I'm like,
Now,
that's
if
just
you're
2
going
avocados.
that and a double queso.
Yeah, that's just 2 avocados right there, and some onion. I mean, I don't know. All right.
You might as well be Bill Gates.
Oh, all right. That's the Tour Junkies podcast for the 2020 Farmers Insurance. Pat, I said I wanted it to be crisp. I don't know that it was crisp, but it was good. All right. Tiger's back. Jordan's back. Golby's Nut Hut is on the way. Y'all better listen up. May your screens be green. May your screens, I think I said green. Let's go do the DraftKings After Dark show on YouTube right now. All right, may your screens be green. See ya!
Out!
Tour Junkies.